Hello everyone, welcome to episode 26 in the Non-Canon Files series. And this is one of our seasonal anime reviews. We're talking about 4 of the biggest anime series that are debuting this summer. But before we get into that, I'll be your host today, Patrick. And joining me today are my 3 summertime co-hosts.
Johnny Sinks.
The god of anime, Colt.
The Great Winslow.
And like we said just a moment ago, we're talking about 4 brand new debut anime series that are hot and heavy for the summer. And we're starting off in a big way with The God of High School. It debuted July 6th. It's currently streaming on Crunchyroll. And this is a Crunchyroll original. It is an adaptation of a Korean webtoon. And it's about a big martial arts tournament coming into Seoul, Korea, aspirating to find the best martial artists of all the high schoolers in Korea. But there seems to be an underlying mysterious organization that has very vested interest in finding out who is the strongest. So to start us off, what did we think of this series?
It is kind of silly, in my opinion.
I mean, it's kind of the point. It reminds me of...
Of course, I'm joking. It's anime. That's the joke.
I mean, it's also a webcomic that it reminds me of One Punch Man with a silliness in that sense. Not as silly as One Punch Man, but it's still very cool. The animation, the quality overall, Crunchyroll. I don't know what Crunchyroll has been doing, but they have been releasing super high quality anime. I mean, they've only done 2 so far with Tower of God and now God of High School, but damn, they are very high quality from animation to audio to the intros and the outros. Personally, big fan of the intro and outro for this. It's EDM, which I'm not usually the biggest fan of EDM because most of it sounds the same, but this was pretty nice.
Yeah, but he's lying. He goes to raves all the time.
Yeah, where's my candy at?
Yeah, where's your drenched in paint?
Cole, how many pacifiers do you have hanging from your wall right now?
Too many to count, I'll tell you that. The walls are made out of them.
Oh, no.
That's why he wears a diaper, too. God damn it.
Yeah, I can't help it. It's like the scene in Always Sunny with the dancing baby on the TV. I find out later that I'm the dancing baby.
Shit.
See, this is the thing that y'all don't realize is that we don't usually allow Colt to take Molly because he just loses all bodily faculties, and it's a pain in the ass to clean up.
And he dances while doing it, too. It gets everywhere.
And I don't always happen to be on Molly when it happens.
He just happens to be doing it.
Yeah, I just be shitting.
100% sober, just fucking pissing, shitting, and coming.
A baby gotta do what a baby gotta do, I guess.
But only in that order.
God of High School, though, is... Sorry, I wanted to just get away from Colt just evacuating himself of all fluids. Talk about the anime like we're supposed to talk about.
Hey,
okay,
you're
guys.
egging me on.
But yeah, God of High School. It was man, I like that intro. You're right. I don't care for EDM either, but man, that thing was popping off. Just a popping off anime in general with that opening scene, I should say. But anyway, just that like opening, like I have no idea what's going on with that giant hand. See, I didn't. I thought maybe it was being kind of like metaphorical. No, he actually smashed that island with his hand.
Yeah, I was a little confused by that, and I realized this is some weird ass god situation, I guess.
Yeah, like in the title, God of High School. But like the thing is like I don't understand the whole high school thing. Like, what does this guy have? Well, probably the company that does this tournament anyway. But yeah, the premise is what, like stupid ass.
I don't think we really know yet.
It said like what, some like a bunch of kids just fight like in martial arts, and then
It seems like Battle Royale but high school. That sounds bad.
But no one dies.
Yeah, it's just martial arts or just beating the shit out of each other. Still a scary thing to think about.
It really is. And like also it's just kind of weird. They have those little devices that like measure like their HP and their levels. Like that's
reminded me of Yu-Gi-Oh for some reason. It just Yu-Gi-Oh stats out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Well, the thing that I thought was weird about that, because all these contestants they're gathered from different high school. They have different disciplines, from like physical fighting to weaponry. and they're all kind of put in this arena to fight, and whoever is the last remaining handful, they get to go on to the tournament. The tournament proper, because there's all these like small battle royale preliminaries happening across the country, because apparently this year the tournament's being held in Seoul, Korea, but each contestant has this little bitty band that's wrapped around their wrist that gives their level. What that means hasn't been fully disclosed. They have their HP, and I guess there's a third, like, I guess energy, magic, whatever. But what I thought was weird is that they just sort of nonchalantly said, we pump all these high schoolers full of nanomachines that monitor their vitals, and that's how we know what their stats are.
Yeah, that's the mark of the beast, as some would say.
Yeah, it's also the mark of the Metal Gear. So get ready for that.
Nanomachine, son.
Who are our so far 3 main characters, Pat?
The 3 main characters, there was Mori, Don, and Mari. Because Mori is the main character. He's just he seems to be a boy living on his own in Korea, and he's very sort of forgetful, but also he's very easygoing. And so he's late for his first day of school. Of course, it is an anime, so he's blazing a trail through town, like passing by to get. But he has like a special case to get into this tournament. But on his way to the tournament, he notices a robbery take place. A motorcyclist snatched the purse of an old lady. And in that moment, he decides he's going to chase down this thief. But also, he's a bit fanciful in his thinking, because he just saw this motorcyclist steal this old lady's purse. But he imagined this whole scenario, like this granny needed her money to like pay for her innumerable amount of grandchildren, and one's got a brain tumor, and she's in debt to the Yakuza, so he has to get the money back because old granny's not going to make it.
Yeah, it was so funny because he also started crying. He's like, "Oh, how sad!"
Like this completely imaginary scenario that he made up himself. He's like, "Oh, of course that has to be what's happening." So he's biking pell-mell to catch up with this motorcyclist, and it cuts to a different scene with the girl character Mari, where she's lost trying to find a way to the tournament, and she passes by this group of high school martial artists who are excluded from the tournament for not being up to snuff, and they're sort of commiserating over the fact that they didn't get in. And then she's like, "Oh, can you help me find my way to the tournament?" And they all sort of like, "Oh, of course we'll help you, cute girl." And then she starts spawning back because she's like, she just loves their big muscles. And they all flex their geese off in order to impress her. This is a good bit.
It was so good because like she started focusing on the guy's heartbeat, and I was like, does she have like some kind of special ability? I thought she was gonna beat him up, but no, she was like, "I'm such a big fan of your muscles," and then all of them smiled and their clothes just fly off. They're like, and they're all tanned like bodybuilders too. And I am not convinced those are high schoolers. Those are some...
No, especially that first one, he's straight up a 40-year-old man. He was very
aged,
cragged face, like just cut out of stone. Yeah, that's what martial arts. That's what martial arts does to you kids. You hit puberty hella hard and hella early.
Man, tough world, or tough.
Fuck puberty. That's hitting your midlife crisis at like 17.
It's like it's instead of 13 going on 30, it's like 13 going on 45. But the last character, Don, he works part-time at a convenience store, and he seems very laissez-faire. Nothing really gets to him. He's just sort of placidly making his way to the tournament. And over the course of the next few minutes, these 3 characters all sort of coalesce together because Mori, he chases the motorcyclist through the park, literally runs smack into Mari and just drives his bike into her face.
This bitch eats full shit.
Yeah.
and then he or she proceeds to beat the shit out of him with her sword, and then he explains to her like what's happening, and she's like, "Oh, how sad!" And then she ends up riding on the back of the bicycle.
So both of these cats, they're chasing down the motorcyclist Steve, and literally she's standing on the back of the bike, like swinging her wooden sword around, and then they're closing and gaining this whole time, and then the motorcyclist is like, "Oh, you kids who want to play tough, huh? I'll show you my 10 years of motorcycle experience." And he does this really like close lean to the ground, and then they copy that, but she's using her sword to brace him along the ground to keep from falling, but her sword is digging into the asphalt as they're going at 90 miles per hour down a freeway.
And he throws out the money because he's just like, here, and he throws out the money. So the guy, Maury stops. The girl jumps off because she's built up momentum and attempts to take down the guy with one of her special samurai moves or sword moves, and she eats shit again. She hits a metal sign, and
It caught me off guard, and I was giggling like a little baby. It was pretty funny.
it was so good.
I mean, it's not that she hits a sign. Like, she face plants into like a highway sign, or like her face indentating through the sign.
It looked like Dali's Scream. Is that Dali? Salvador Dali? He did the...
No, that wasn't Salvador Dali. That was Munch, Edward Munch.
Okay, Edward Munch's Scream. It reminded me of that.
Yeah, it was very good. And but also, while this is happening, there's a guy rapping while he's walking through the streets. And he catches up with this old lady, and as he's talking to this old lady, he's rapping too. And it's just people in the comments saying, "Are you gonna help the lady or what?" And then the guy Don, he's on his way.
Which I'm pretty sure it was making fun of American YouTubers.
Oh, for sure.
Just doing a little jab at them.
Because they're a bunch of pieces of shits. But anyway, Don is walking to the tournament from work, and he catches this, and he's just like, huh. And then keeps walking. And then fast forward to her Mari eating shit, Maury trying to catch the money. This motorcyclist is just like, and then Don just punches the shit out of him. One punch explodes, sends him flying right into a truck. And that's how they all meet.
I gotta say, what's the guy's name that punches again?
Don.
He reminds me of Chad from Bleach. He's giving me those big arm vibes, and I'm kind of hoping he is a Chad, because Chad was one of my sleeper faves from Bleach.
I've never seen it, but nice.
He's got big, beautiful arms.
I bet.
Big arms. And so that's the first half of the story, which I did think the eye catch for the episode was pretty neat, is that it has all three characters bicycling together to the stadium, but it's done in this like pixelated 16-bit style, which I thought was neat and a little unexpected considering the show.
Yeah.
So everybody arrives at the auditorium. Everybody's getting ready because they're all participants, and they just sort of introduce each other, and they all get along pretty well right off from the start. They all introduce their names, like, I'm Don, I'm Mari, I'm Maury, and then like literally the boys fist bump and the girls like, yeah, okay, I'm here to play too. And so we have an announcer. He ushers everyone in, all the participants, and you see all the little people that we met along the way. Like, you see the YouTube rapper, we see the karate boys. They're here to support Mari, and then everybody else. Because literally when Mari comes out, all the boys are like shirtless from one scene to the next. Like, yeah, we're here for her muscles. Show your muscles, boy, and support. And we also get little sneak peeks of all the other, like, obviously big characters. We have like this MMA kid, we have like this kung fu guy, we have like wrestler girl, we have dude reading a book, but obviously he's so good he can read a book and kick ass at the same time.
Obviously, Jesus.
He just beating their ass with a steel baseball bat.
With a baseball bat, reading a
smacking.
fucking book. Like, okay, we haven't met him yet, but I can tell he already pisses me off.
Oh, he's gonna be the Cody type, and I want to hurt him.
Oh yeah, exactly. like he just looks like you want to dunk his head in the toilet, right?
Oh yeah.
What a nerd. He can whoop ass, but he can read a book at the same time. He's too good to pay attention to you as he's kicking your ass.
God. And what I love about this show is it's just fucking no bullshit. We're getting in the fight. We're already starting the tournament arc for this shit.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
The whole series is a tournament arc.
I know, and those are usually the best arcs in all these shonen, so I'm like, thank God we're skipping all the fucking bullshit.
It's just pure shonen distillation.
I mean, really, like, literally the first episode, they get right into it because, like Pat said, they kind of introduce, or you kind of see, like, a few important characters. Fuck, there's another guy who looks like Maury, just with purple hair, and the eyes aren't, his eyes aren't, like, little anime stars. Yeah, which those look cool. I like his eyes. And something else I forgot to mention too. dude, both of them remind me of Tai from Digimon.
Yeah, because Mori has like big crazy hair, but he also had like these. It looks like if there were sunglasses mixed with a sleep mask.
Yeah.
Because like he has these green goggle like things on his head, but they're kind of textured, like maybe an oven mitt would be, like this sort of pleated sort of material. There's these weird face ornaments he has because he's the main character. The announcer says, "Hey, this is a battle royal. Y'all just whoop ass until we decide there's enough of you whittled down that you move on to the next portion of the thing." So you see everybody get their little turn to kick ass. You see Mori just like roughing everybody up. You see Don just throw one punch and the shockwave sends everybody flying. Mari swings her sword around and everybody gets the anime cut like a second later. And you see all the other extra people do their thing. MMA guy does an arm bar. Nerd guy is just reading his little book and smacking people around. Wrestler girl does a sweet neck breaker on a guy.
Oh my god.
So they're all knocking down folks one by one, but then there's a little bit of a swerve, and that this like shadowy council in the skybox is watching, because apparently they're the ones that have the best interest in finding the strongest martial artists amongst this crowd of high schoolers. And even though they say they'll dole out a single wish to whoever the winner of the tournament is, it does seem like there's going to be some kind of shady catch for the whole organization. But anyway, one person there calls in someone over the phone, and they bring in a late entry into the tournament. This punk from a reformatory school shows up in the middle of the fight with his arms bound and a coat on his shoulders, and he just proceeds to whip ass with no arms at all.
He just goes straight full Madara on them and just like bam, 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 just whooping all sorts of ass.
I mean, if he's good at kicking, there's fighting styles out there that like solely focus on kicking. So I guess it makes sense with what's going on. But yeah, he starts kicking ass. Also, one of the shady guys up there, he's a blonde guy. He apparently fought our main guy Mori and almost beat him. And this is kind of a way for Mori also to have a rematch with him, which is interesting. And then the girl with Mari with his wooden sword attempts to fight this psycho, because it looks like he's wearing a straight jacket, and she attempts to fight him, hits him once with the sword, and then I can't remember exactly what happens. He grabs her sword with his foot, of course, and hits him once, and then hits him again. And it doesn't work anime style. He doesn't actually move his head because she kicks him in the head, and it looks like she got him, but she didn't. And then Mori steps in, and he gets kicked really hard while attempting to get back oh fuck! Mori pulls down the guy's pants.
Yeah.
I was about to say you're bearing the lead there, because the delinquent, he was being creepy and tried to look at Mari's skirt, and then it cuts to Mori yanking down his pants to sort of get back at him, and you see he's like, oh, you probably look cuter in briefs. He has like all this like this animal print. He has like a fucking elephant on the front side of his underwear. Because it means his cock is big.
And then he pulls back up his pants.
Totally just talk about his cock.
He pulls up back his pants. He's like, his pants are heavy.
Because this fucker is walking around kicking ass with weighted Rock Lee pants.
And apparently weighted Rock Lee cock.
Fuck.
Yeah, he just drops his dick and just shoots around the room.
And then somebody just smashes it, and they're like, looking for this? Oh, God. But so then he pulls his pants back up for him, and then he kicks Mori, but in that instant, anime style, he's able to elbow his foot, and he leaves like a huge like bruise. I don't know if he broke it or something, but in this moment too, Mori gets like thrown into the wall, huge explosion, and he's just like, I guess if you're going all out, I'll go all out too. And then they both jump up into the air and about to clash, and that's where the episode ends. Something I should say though, oh man, that one guy that was fighting, I think he was like wearing not a gown, but like a very specific type of martial arts, like
Gi?
I don't know if that's what it's called. I'm not sure. It looks like he was doing Tai Chi. I don't know.
Oh, the Chinese martial arts guy with the glasses and
The kung fu guy.
You guys have just said all these different stuff. The guy that was blue, the guy that was dressed in blue, he looked like he was doing
Yeah.
he looked like he was doing tai chi. I don't know. That looked cool. Also, wrestler girl, come on, man. Like that was
that was a fucking sick net breaker. I was like, hell yeah! I don't know who she is, but I'm on board.
it was awesome. But like, oh my god, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what I'm saying. Like, fan service is gonna be fan service, but I just think this whole thing is silly.
I think it's badass.
Oh no,
and
it is.
I am super excited to continue watching this. That whole end tournament, intro to all these characters, animation quality right there. Holy shit! This is top tier. Like when you think of some of the best fight scenes, this animation quality is up there with those.
Yeah, when the episode was over, I was like, "Fuck, that's it." I was really into it. However, if I'm gonna pull out some nitpicky bullshit, their faces are fucking weird. They look like they've got fucking stuffy nose. They all got red nose, and Pat pointed out all these bitches have fucking cauliflower ear.
Yeah.
Because when I first noticed it when we were introduced to Don, he's working at the convenience store. Because what it is like the top fold of their ears are very pronounced, and the way they're drawn, I thought, okay, he's a fighter. He probably is taking some licks on the head, so his ears are a little puffy because he's just that serious a fighter. No, literally every single person in this anime, the tops of their ears are just really pronounced with the way they're drawn. It's the quirk of the show, but it makes everybody look like they have cauliflower ear.
And everyone's ear is 3 times too big for their head. And once Pat pointed it out, I couldn't fucking unsee it.
It doesn't look that bad to me personally. I had to Google because I didn't know.
It's not a bad thing. It's just a noticeable thing.
I mean, I don't really think it looks bad either. It's just I would have to agree. It does look like they all have stuffy nose. I thought at first, Mori,
I was thinking it was tans.
I thought at first Mori and the guy at the very beginning, the mysterious god-like figure, I thought they would be related somehow because they both had stuffy nose looking, but then everybody has that, so I'm like, well, shit, never mind. And then we also see could be his father too, but we only see his grandfather.
So I mean, of course, this doesn't detract from the show. It's just, it's just a noticeable quirk of the animation that really stood out to us. Because I enjoyed the series, but I know for a fact there's gonna be a lot of people shitting on it because ooh, it's Tumblr style anime characters. I'm just like, ugh, what a bunch of crap.
What style?
Tumblr style. Because for those who don't know, in the early to mid 2010s on Tumblr, there was this proliferation of this drawing quirk where characters would draw their human characters was an accented red nose, just as a little quirk or a little cutesy thing, and it became very popular on Tumblr, and it kind of spread from there to the point where people started making fun of it, how ubiquitous it was in a lot of people's art. So that's why if you see an anime style character and it has this prominent red nose, a lot of people call it Tumblr style because that was a very popular thing that people did on Tumblr when they share their art. But of course that's just a popular thing. It's not necessarily bad, but a lot of people saw it so often they began to take issue with it.
Oh, kind of like when people talked about how every cartoon on Cartoon Network looks like Cal Arts.
Yeah, which is bullshit.
Yeah,
it's one of those things when there's a trend in an art style, people get pissy about it because it looks very similar, but a lot of times they don't point out the stuff that looks similar and the things that they like, because there's been the whole art debate going on Twitter in the last several days about sort of how similar adult animation looks and how they'll point out stuff from children's animation but not from adult animation, and it's a whole wormhole that nobody needs to get into right now.
It's a disc.
It's tiring, man. I just don't see why you'd want to do that.
Hey, let's go and what about some painting discourse? Am I right, boys? Why is everybody doing planar style planing? Am I right?
Also, why was Michelangelo so stinky? Ew.
Well, I'll tell you why he didn't bathe.
His art was good, but he was a stinky man that didn't bathe, apparently.
Not many people did back then because it was of the devil.
I say art needs to be more stinky.
I don't like that.
I don't like that either.
Replace the oil and oil paint with just oil from people's unwashed hair.
What the fuck?
You know, I don't
Stop.
Oil paint causes cancer. You know, I'm kind of fine with that instead of bodily fluids.
I have an option. It's called just not using it.
Well, you don't.
If I had the option of cancer or using someone's hair oils to paint, I would not.
Then guess who's not painting?
I should say too. That's kind of a exaggeration by me. Unless you're drinking tubes of oil paint, you don't have to worry. But I drink tubes of oil paint every day.
Oh no!
It's always the person that gives advice that can't take it. All right, so got a high school. What are we saying for this now? Are we recommending this one?
Oh yeah.
Oh hell yeah!
Yes.
For sure.
Watch it.
Right,
Watch it.
Very recommended. All right, going on to our next series, we have The Great Pretender. This debuted July 9th. It's currently streaming on Japanese Netflix. And it's about a small-time con man who has big aspirations, but unfortunately, his dreams get a little too big because he ends up getting himself into a whole lot of trouble with even bigger con artists. Now, Jonathan and I, we weren't able to catch this one, so we'll lean on Colt and Winslow to talk about this. So we'll turn this over to you. What did y'all think of The Great Pretender?
It kicks so much ass. It is stylized. It is beautiful. It's perfection, baby. Just from the first episode, oh my god, I'm so excited for this. I'm gonna let Wenzel.
Yeah, no, I have to agree with Cole. It's very stylized. It goes to a nice man. I don't know. I love the music in it. The sound. Oh man,
It's jazzy. It gives
very
me
jazzy.
fuck, what is it called? Cowboy Bebop, Bebop Bob's vibes.
Obviously, and then also we said this before, and I'll say it again. Lupin vibes till the end.
Oh hell yes. Which I've never seen Lupin, but I'm assuming Lupin has thieves in it,
Yeah,
and it's kinda like that.
spoiler: Lupin is a thief.
Okay, I mean I've never seen it. I just know that there's one Lupin film that has amazing animation where a guy gets his arm cut off.
Which that's funny because like that is like so different from the rest of it. Like that's just one of the characters. And Lupin all around is just a criminal. You know, hate him. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. You wanna explain the story of this one, Colt, or?
Yeah, sure I can. I don't remember the characters' names because I am dog shit with names in fiction and in real life.
Colt, what's my name?
I only know my close friends' names, and it takes about 30 times of me seeing them in person to get it.
Because we haven't seen each other in 5 months, Colt's memory is just eroded.
I think I'm talking to Tanner and Cody.
Yeah.
Close enough.
Yeah. T is close to C.
But the main character is a man.
Fuck.
That
I
I
forgot his
don't-
name too.
I don't know his name. But he's a con man. His whole thing is playing cons. It starts out with him. It starts out with an old man saying, "Hey, I could sell you a filter. It's mandated by the government. You have to buy this filter." And the old woman's like, "I shouldn't believe this because I have a poster on my fridge that says con men in the area do not believe water filter quality people con men. Do not listen to them." And so she calls up the people on the flyer, which was our con man. And what she didn't know is the first guy and this guy were working together. She calls him up and he's like, "Oh man, your water levels are fine. It's just they're safe to drink. But it would be even safer for, say, your grandchild to drink with this 99 or equivalent to U.S. money, $99 water filter." And that's how they get their first con done. They trick this old lady into buying this water filter.
Yeah. The character's name, I just looked it up. His name is Makoto.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, these two guys are in a little con together. You know, of course, it makes sense. Creepy old guy. Then you bring in the young handsome guy. Which one's more pleasing, I guess? And then there's also a neat little thing too where Makoto buys like little miniature historical Japanese figures because he got one from oh man, what are they called? Like
Gotcha machines.
gotcha machines. The one that he gets is Hideyoshi. That he takes as a sign that he's gonna rule over Japan. And I was telling Colt recipes Hideyoshi because I mean this isn't a spoiler or anything. I'm just saying like because he's dead obviously.
He's a real person.
He's a real
Or
person.
he was a real person.
But in Neo,
Spoilers for history.
spoilers for Neo 2, I guess.
Yeah.
Fun game, by the way. But anyway, so he gets that, and so they're chilling in their apartment or whatever, and then the cops show up, and he's like, "Oh fuck, we need a skedaddle." So,
Well, you skipped a very important part.
oh, my bad. Yeah. So they're doing there's a man. He's obviously not from Japan because he's blonde. He's white, and he's enjoying a meal at a stand, and then Makoto walks by. The old man is also sitting at the stand, and he picks up a wallet, and he's like, "Hey, is this your wallet?" And opens it up, and he's like, a ton of money in there, and it's like, holy shit! Like he's like, it's like what the guy's like, I don't know, is this my wallet? I don't know. So the old man is like, does he say it's his wallet, or he tries to take
Yeah,
the
the old
wallet?
man's trying to like say that's my wallet. It's not his. Trying to prove that he's not part of the scam, I guess, or to scare the person they're trying to con into actually getting the wallet.
Yeah. And then Makoto's like, I'm going to take it to the police station, get he's like, finder's fee or whatever, some shit. And then the guy is like, he's like, that is my wallet. Does he say it in English or?
Yeah, the whole time he's speaking in English.
yeah,
Both
because-
of them, Makoto and this American guy is
Speaking
they're both speaking in English.
because Makoto knows English very well, and so he gives him a ton of cash for the wallet. So he gets the wallet, he gives him a hug, and then he leaves. And then they're like, "Ha, we just scammed this dumbass American out of his stupid ass wallet. What a dumbass bitch! Fuck him." So they say all of that. Makoto says it
Pretty
in
much. He's not lying.
Makoto says it in English, and so they go to the apartment. And they're like, man, look at all my little figures. We got all this fucking money, and then he opens the wallet and he's like, and then turns out he has the dud wallet because he pulls out a bunch of newspaper clippings. Essentially, they cut out a bunch of newspaper and made it look like money, and that's how they put it in the wallet. That's supposed to be their scam, and the scammed got scammed.
And that's when the police show up at their door, and that's when they start to freak out, and Makoto runs through the alleys by himself to escape capture. And when he's on his way to run away, he gets into a cab, and what he doesn't know, he gets in the same cab that the American man's in, the exact same blonde American. And he's like, how did you do that? How'd you scam me? Give me my money back. Because he was like wondering how he, a master scammer, got scammed by a stupid American.
A stupid dumbass American bitch. How'd he do that? You know, doesn't get his money back, by the way. So, but instead he gives him candy.
Yeah, he just gives him some nice candy that does not come into play at all in the future.
Yeah, which I do want that candy because that candy looked awesome.
Yeah, it's probably just like some strawberry hard candy. That's
Probably.
probably just what it is.
I'll still take it. I like gimmicks. So yeah, the guy's like, I'm going to the airport. I'm going back to LA, and he's like, all right. And Makoto's like, I guess I should leave too, skip town. So they end up getting to the airport, and he gets there, and they essentially. Well, they don't essentially, but they pretty much part ways, sort of.
Well, no, they don't part
Well,
ways
no, they don't-
because
they don't sit
Makoto
They don't sit together.
was like,
what I'm saying.
you pay me back, or I will stay with you for as long as I need to.
Well, yeah, I know. I'm trying to say that this guy isn't quote important unquote, but never mind. Anyway, so he bumps into this random couple in the airport. They're trying to go to LA as well. He drops, or he is able to sneak some stuff into the guy's like baggage or whatever, and then he gets up there and he's like, one ticket to LA tonight. today. And the woman's like, sorry, all booked up. You're gonna have to wait. He's like, nah, I think they're gonna be opening. So this couple goes through security, and the stuff that he dropped in the guy's bag was a ski mask, a knife, and some other paraphernalia and
criminal stuff,
scary, spooky stuff. So can't go to L.A. Gets on a ride to L.A. Gets there. Get off the plane, goes with this American to his car, and the American's like, all right, see ya, peace out. But Makoto's like, we're going. I'm going to stay with you, whatever, how long. So that's what happens. So I think they get into sort of a fight in the car because the American makes fun of his accent.
Keep in mind, they're speaking English, both of them. They're even speaking English and Japanese accents, and the American guy is speaking with an American accent. It's a pretty good bit. And then suddenly, during their argument, they're like, warning, we are switching to purely Japanese from here on. Because I just guess the voice actors were like, we gotta get back to Japanese. This is
tiring.
Not gonna hit well. It's tiring.
So
I thought it was a really good bit.
It was a really good bit. And so the guy's like, all right, if you're gonna do this, if you're gonna stick with me, because they make a deal where like they're gonna try to sell some that candy, right? They're gonna sell that candy, and some other Japanese goods for like exorbitant prices.
I think it was 500 million yen or something like that. It was a high amount.
It was like 600 million yen. So it was like, I don't know how much that is in American dollars. It's a lot in American dollars if you don't know. Unless somebody can correct me, listening out there. So he's like, they make a deal where if Makoto can sell more, then this guy gets to be his assistant. But if Makoto can't, and this guy sells more, then he has to be this guy's assistant. So they're like, all right, this guy is like, we got to make you look the part. So they go to Macy's. The actual store Macy's.
There's actual brands in this.
Except for In-N-Out. For some reason, when they showed In-N-Out, it was In-Z-Out.
Well, I should say not brands, because Macy's was actually Mocy's, like M-O-C-Y-S.
Oh, was it? I thought it looked like Macy's. I could be wrong.
But still, it's another good bit on their part. They're doing some funnies throughout this whole show.
It's funny to me. So they get him in a suit, and the guy's like, you look like a nerd, because they get him some glasses and stuff. And that's where we finally get to introduce to this guy. His name is Laurent. He's French, apparently. They go to do their con. It's at this big mansion. Some gang members come up. This Laurent guy starts speaking Spanish and French.
They just started smashing every language they could into the show.
Yep, it's a very good bit. And one of the guys that they're doing this deal with is actually a guy that was in their car argument. He was some criminal mafia boss producer in Hollywood who helps like produce films, I think. So
yeah, he even talks about how this script's garbage. DiCaprio would never accept this.
Yeah, and they actually name drop DiCaprio. Don't say Leonardo, of course. So they're like, we have this raw material drug. It's like this. I guess it could be cocaine. It could be something. It's a drug. It's in a little baggie, and the guy's like, hey, get Abby, go get some champagne and come up here. So she gets some champagne, and they show him this drug, and they're like, hey, Abby, do this drug. And it's the raw stuff. So he's like, nah, you can't do it. So he brings out that candy, and he's like, here you go. So he gives her some of the candy, and she goes batshit fucking crazy.
Like, she starts swinging, she starts jumping over chairs, smashing everything, and does a giant somersault into the water. And then she just like does a sigh of relief. And the mobster man is just saying, I'm in. Let's do it. I want this drug, which we learn in that moment when she starts freaking out. She's obviously in on the scam because it's just candy that she was given.
I was also kind of convinced too, because the guy that was talking about this girl, he was like, yeah, she's fucking stupid. Like, literally said, he was like, she's dumb. We'll probably get more out of her in dancing and singing and dancing or whatever. And in this moment too, he's like, let's have the doctor test it out too. So he shoves a whole ass piece of candy in his mouth, doesn't even chew it, he swallows it. Don't know how he swallowed it, because it's for a hard candy, it's pretty big. And but when he has his hand over his mouth, he notices something. He notices that this guy has a watch, that is similar to the watch that the old man had back in Japan, and the old woman that they conned had the same watch. And that's when he realizes this is a fucking con too.
This whole thing from like him selling the water filter to this old lady, all part of this big scam that the American was pulling on him. Because there's a scene where the old lady just walks out of the house, and then another old lady walks into the house. She says, it feels so good to be back in her own home.
And then she's like,
what? Where'd this filter come from?
And then the old man is at dinner with the cops, and he's like, good job playing cops, boys. And it was gold. But in that moment when he realizes this, he runs away, of course, and they just make it as an excuse of, this, if you swallow the whole bit, then the drug makes you go even crazier. So he runs out of that mansion, and he makes it to an alleyway, and he, of course, Laurent is able to track him down because he gave him a pen that's actually a transmitter, so it tracks him, and he's like, I'm, what's going on? What is this? Get away from me! I know karate. So he attempts to fight him, and then we see Abby, and she just kicks him straight in the fucking face. Looks like it hurts, and she's like, "No mercy." That's what she says.
She also speaks English
Yep.
in that moment,
and that was like apparently it was a crane stance fighting move, and then we cut to later. He's upside down, hanging from the Hollywood sign. His legs are tied, of course. And that's actually how the beginning of the episode opens up, with him hanging from the Hollywood sign, screaming for help. And, of course, Laurent and Abby are there, and he's like, what are you guys? And we're con artists. And that's how the episode ends.
and then it ends on a beautiful outro.
Woo!
Also, the intro was beautiful. Both of the parts of it. Oh my goodness, I like this. I like it more than God of High School. For sure. It was amazing. I think
it was amazing.
you should watch this. You really should.
For sure.
We didn't really give it the best explanation, but what we did give you,
I mean,
I feel like it was good.
we went through the entire thing. I don't know. Something else that just
You gave us the Colt and Winslow experience, because the whole time I'm imagining what I know of the show, what I've seen through clips and trailers. And then part way that just cuts into y'all reenacting the story, but it's all like crayon drawings. But I'm imagining the whole story at the same time.
Also, it was funny too, because Colt was like, Colt sending a message saying there's a woman in here that Winslow will go batshit crazy over, and I'm like, all right, whatever, I won't. And then that woman pops up, and I'm like, holy shit, he's right. And it's Abby. Because her introduction is really good, but it's also kind of weird. Her name's Abby. It's weird for me anyway. Yeah, you guys know.
Just from what y'all said and what I've seen, I think this will be a very strong contender. But I will say, I do love what I've been able to see. There's a lot of great Gentleman Thief vibes. I love the jazz music. And there's obviously it's kind of hard to talk about a Gentleman Thief anime without throwing some nod to Lupin the Third, was sort of like the progenitor of the genre in anime, at least popularly. And I did get to see the intro, and that has heavy Lupin vibe, because you have that character it's running around, and they're drawn this very elongated, lanky style, which is known for Lupin the Third. But I'm absolutely going to watch this. The best way, whenever the best way is, I'll be able to check it out. But this is high on my list for summer anime.
Give it a watch.
And moving right along to our next series, we have Japan Saint 2020 that debuted July 9th. It's currently streaming on American and Japanese Netflix, and it focuses on a family trying to survive, and when Japan is hit by a devastatingly massive earthquake and dealing with the fallout of widespread disaster. And I made the mistake of watching this first thing in the morning, and that's a lot of drama and feelings that hit you at 6:30
you made a
in the morning.
big mistake,
but it is
there,
very
Pat.
good.
I mean, I feel like you should have known what you're getting into. If you don't know, it's a Masaki Yuasa anime. And if you don't know Masaki Yuasa, he is known for attacking you with a baseball bat, which not physically, but emotionally. And he does not necessarily hold back. He holds back a little bit compared to, say, Devilman, but he still beats you with a baseball
Pretty
bat.
much, he like you're just walking, and you just had a good day, right? You just went shopping or something, and then you come in front of an alley, and you're like, oh, that's kind of a dark alley, and then as soon as you walk in front of it, he just comes out and hits you I don't want to say that he pretty much hits you in the leg with a baseball bat.
He takes your wallet out of your pocket. He doesn't take the money. He just takes the money out of the wallet and sprinkles it on you. And he says, have a good day, spits on you, and walks away.
Exactly.
And he gives you a kiss.
Yeah.
He has a very unique way of storytelling that I absolutely love. And let me tell you, it doesn't really change with the quality either. Because if you like Devilman Crybaby, I feel like you'll like this.
When I first heard of the series, I was a little caught off guard because my preconceived notion of a series called Japan Sinks kind of is a little bit different because there was a movie that came out several years ago also called Japan Sinks, but it was more of like a dark comedy about just the hilarious cataclysm of Japan crumbling into the sea. And I was like, is they're making an anime about that movie? But no, it's a very grounded take on extreme natural disaster and an urban setting, and they even explicitly mention how in the series this is worse than the Tohoku earthquake from 2011. The earthquake so strong that it affected the length of the day because it kind of shows the perspective of the four family members: the mother, the father, the sister, and the brother, and the various aspects of their life, whether at home or in the work or at school, and sort of dealing with the sort of foreshocks that come from the earthquake. Be like, oh, well, this is Japan. We're kind of used to earthquakes. So they sort of just, go through the shaking and wash it off. And then all of a sudden they're hit with the next quake, which just completely levels Japan. And it really is sort of intense how quickly it shifts because that's how quickly natural disasters can happen. And you're sort of just thrown like face first into the disaster because the daughter, she's at school, or she's at track practice, and then the earthquake hits while she's in her locker room, and you just see pretty much all of her classmates get crushed and killed by debris from the earthquake. And there's one survivor. There's a girl that's trapped under some rubble, but the main character girl, she's just so panicked and exasperated from the scene, she just abandons her, which comes into play later. You see the brother, he's at home by himself, and literally he's playing his PSP Vita while under a table, and he's like, yeah, whatever. And all of a sudden the house turns upside down, like he literally gets banged in the back of the head with a chair, and you see this little boy like covered in blood laying in a pool of his own blood, which is very intense. The mother is coming back from work on a jet, and then there's like volcanoes erupting in the sea, and they have like emergency landing, and the father, he's working as the construction crew for the Japanese 2020 Olympics, and then he's on the scaffolding when the earthquake hits. So it's like all these perilous and mundane scenarios made even more frightening by just enormous disaster.
Say too with the kid as well. When he got hit with the chair, he was trying to get up by using his their center table, and the chair pushes his head, or his specifically his eyes, into the side of the table, and it's like, oh my god, this kid just got his head bashed in. But no, he was still alive, thankfully. Something I should say too, and I could be off, but I feel like this might be kind of based on an actual. There was a few years ago, I think this was after I came back from Okinawa, there was a scientific study done that predicts that, if you don't know, Japan literally sits inside something called the Ring of Fire, and what that means is that there's it's surrounded by volcanoes. And that's why Japan is not used to, but essentially has dealt with a lot of earthquakes and tsunamis, is because of those volcanoes. But the thing is that there's so many concentrated in an area, and that not all of them have essentially erupted or could erupt again. And there was a prediction that within the next 1,000 years, that eventually they will erupt, and that 90% of Japan will just be gone. It'll just be completely uninhabitable. from when it was discovered and until the next 1,000 years, this could happen. And that's what's kind of scary about this, is that what you're seeing, like, even though it's animated, it like, this is an actual event that could happen. Like
it's not supernatural at all.
No,
this
it's
show,
not
I'll say that,
supernatural.
it is not supernatural.
No, it's just natural disaster. And like the fact, I mean, the name of the show is called Japan Sinks, so you have to imagine it's going to be literally entirety of Japan most likely being destroyed, and that this can really happen. Like this is predicted to happen like well beyond our lifetime, but could happen in our lifetime if humans are still alive within the next 1,000 years. That's what makes this really, really bleak.
Yeah, but one thing I really like about the show is, unlike a lot of disaster movies and sort of post-apocalypses, at least for the first episode, the way the episode ends, that might not be the case for the rest of the series, but it was a little more upbeat and hopeful in some areas, especially as the family starts coming together in this very wholesome reunion.
Because I was sort of expecting that just long drawn out things like, oh no, the family is separated, it's gonna be the whole series of them didn't get back together, but they all reunite at the end in a very like tender moment. But of course, because we got this sort of big relief so early on, I'm afraid what happens next.
Especially how the episode ends, because the bodies just start fucking raining down, and it's like, well, fuck.
Because literally bodies hit the floor, because a helicopter crashes, and it's speculated that people that fell through the trees and fell to the ground, they fell out of that fallen helicopter. I feel like this, in a way, this series is probably a sort of working through the emotions that came with the 2011 earthquake.
Yeah.
Because there's one scene in the show that really clicked with me, because I remember watching it in a documentary. It's that it was just for a moment, but there's like a mile-long line of people waiting to use the one working payphone, and that was a very real thing I remember seeing, is that even in the midst of the disaster, there's still a lot of order, just from like how Japanese culture is sort of maintained like civility and sort of working together even in the midst of the disaster, because that happened in real life. There's like footage of people being patient and civil, waiting to use the meager resources they have or waiting their turn, and like in the threat of this enormous disaster, which of course would not happen here.
Oh God, no. I mean, COVID-19 has proven that and time again.
If it was the other way around, people would probably end up breaking that payphone in America because they couldn't use it, so that no one else gets to. But we're not getting into like the good and bad behaviors of other countries and our country in the midst of national crisis, because there's plenty of that right now. But I thought that was a very poignant moment, just in the background, even just to show like even in the midst of like horror and uncertainty, people can come together and people can show that we can unify.
Yeah, because one of the things early on I was worried about was the show is going to sort of just revel in the misery of it all. And it doesn't shy away from it at all. It doesn't pull any punches, but it's not misery porn in any sense of the word. Now, like I said, later on in the series, that could easily fucking change. Because, like I said, even though this reunion at the end is very wholesome, it's very traumatic with when bodies are literally falling out.
I should say, too, also, it wasn't entirely unified, because when the high school track girl makes it to the first camp, essentially, literally one can falls, and then you just see a bunch of people just scramble for it, saying, hey, that's mine, no, that's given, and just clearly push this girl out of the way. Then later, the mother who was trying to get out of her plane, a bunch of people were just fighting to essentially get out of the plane. She jumps in the water to save a little boy.
Yeah, can we just say the fucking mom's a badass?
Yeah,
for sure.
Because like, they're trying to get everybody on the little life raft to get people to safety, and she's like, nah, fuck that shit, jumps in the fucking water, is going to swim to her own safety, and then there's this fucking kid that's drowning, and she's like, well, I'm saving this fucking kid.
And
those
I was going to say, she makes it onto land, and she asked to use this one woman's phone, and the woman just a total bitch. She's just like, "No, are you kidding me?" Like, wow, okay, man, like, and and like, it's just, I don't know, kind of harrowing still.
Because I will say, they show both sides. They show people can come together, but also shows, like, in desperate moments, people's desperate actions come forward to the surface. Like, once the trapped in society go away, you see sort of the more, like, base instincts sort of prevail over civility. Just the need to survive becomes that pressing. But going back to the mother for a second, I want to say I remember reading that the mother is supposed to be Filipino.
Yes, she is, but it's not really revealed until a later episode.
Oh.
Okay, so that might be a later spoiler, how much that comes into play. I just thought that was neat because there's a Filipino artist I follow online, and they were very excited to see that representation in the show.
Hey.
But I'm very interested to see where this series goes, even though my eyes were wet at the end of the episode. I was still very much like, okay, I know I'm going to get run through the ringer, but like I'm ready to see where this goes.
Yeah, same here. It was.
I'm sorry. Sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say because I decided because we were very not busy at work today. I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'll watch these episodes at work. And I was like, fuck, I'm not ready to feel these feelings right here. Can you stop, Mr. Yuasa? Please, I'm not ready for this.
No, he's got that bat looking for you, Jonathan.
Oh, yeah. And it just comes out of nowhere. Just
and,
whap.
And he's fast because he has roller skates. It's like the little slugger from Paranoia Ancient.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a very strong feeling, and like I don't know if I know I want to continue it just because it's so freaking good, but like I just have a strong feeling that it's gonna be exploring, like I said, that prediction. It's not even a prediction. It's like, from what I understand, it's like they've done the research and they're like, yeah, this is gonna happen. Japan will not exist within the next 1,000 years, and I have a feeling that it's gonna explore that because, of course, natural disasters don't just happen in one instant. It's going to happen in waves, and I feel like it's going to continue in waves, and it's going to be really depressing. So, watch this.
Yeah, I've seen all of it because as soon as it dropped, I love Masaki Yuasa. I love all his work. I binged it in like one sitting. Whoa. That's all I got to say. I don't want to say anything. I watch it. I love it.
And I should say, too, it is a prediction, by the way. Don't be, too... I don't know what to say. I'm not...
I mean, we're going to be swallowed by the sun eventually.
Yeah.
That's trillions, billions.
That'll be billions of years. This is supposed to happen within the next 1,000 years, and humans could possibly be still alive. I'm not a scientist. This is just from what I've read from these literally this like very extensive scientific study, like article, journal. I don't know. Again, just watch this. It looks to be very, very emotional, and if you want to see if you're still human, get you feeling something.
Yeah, get your cry on. Get it.
And stay tuned for the American adaptation, California Sinks.
It's gonna suck.
No,
we already had that. It's San Andreas.
Yeah, it's 2012.
It's 2012. It's San Andreas. San Andreas with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. You know what? They should have put Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in this show.
Don't want to say spoiler.
Oh my God! No way.
Yeah, way. He's the one causing it.
Fast and Furious.
What?
Yep, they go to Mars.
Oh my God! I could just imagine the four of them are just like, hey, what's that car? And then it's like a muscle car with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson driving it, of course. And he's like, get in. San Andreas Fault, 2012.
We're going back in time.
Da-da-da-da-da.
So, and moving on to our final series of the night, we have Deca-Dence. It released on July the 8th. It's currently streaming on Hulu. And it's about the afterworld of humanity living in a massive mobile fortress, trying to eke out resources in a barren land, but also trying to stave off attacks from these mysterious monsters. And it follows a young girl named Natsume as she adjusts to life inside the massive fortress as an orphan and dealing with her new assigned position in life. And I will say this is probably one of the most gorgeous series that we've covered, and it's probably my personal favorite. But I'm really interested in what y'all have to say about this one.
This, personally, is like what I wanted Darling in the Franxx to be. From what I've seen, which is just episode 1, this is really good. I'm really enjoying it. One thing that's really cool is the giant fortress is powered by the life force of these monsters, which is their blood. And when they fight these monsters, their weapons are giant needles that once they stab into it, all the blood will just spray out the needle. What is that called? You use it to get like maple syrup.
Tree tapping?
It's like tree tapping, but living beings. And it's really cool how they do it. Because whenever they go into fights with these monsters... Well, I know, but still, they're...
But trees don't hit back.
Yeah, they can't fight me.
But they're alive, so get that right, okay?
Whatever, nerd. Go read your books.
I will. I took biology.
Yeah,
read your book on that dead tree, you bastard.
But whenever they fight the monsters, I think it's the monsters, they emit a giant force field that, like, encapsulates a certain area, and everything in that force field is low gravity. So, like, whenever they are fighting them, they are essentially... It reminds me of Attack on Titan flying around in these circles trying to stab them with needles.
I was about to say, it kind of reminds me of a mix of Attack on Titan, resource exploitation like Darling in the Franxx, and the way they had this needle weapons, kind of like Cabaneri the Iron Fortress.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like... I don't know, just the way they use. They're more like guns, I think, needle guns. With Cabaneri, they had like
a nail gun.
It was like a nail gun that was like mounted, I want to say, or something. And they it was much more meaty in how they shot the core. But man, yeah, fucking fun.
Because the soldiers that combat the monsters are called gears.
Gears of War,
and they, like we've been saying, they have this mechanism that sort of launches this hollow spear into them, and it causes the monster to bleed out, and then they have this mechanism. It kind of looks like a cauldron, like a witch's cauldron strapped to the back that sort of draws in the fluid. And since we're sort of trying to figure out what this means, we don't know if the monster themselves distort gravity to allow the characters to fly, or the contraption itself allows them. But in any case, there's this zero gravity fight between the monsters and the gears. And our main character, Natsume, she was a young girl who had aspirations of becoming a gear, but due to an accident and the cold open of the show, when a monster attacked her father, who's on a archaeological survey, she lost her arm in the ensuing event, and she's been relegated to a position in the society in the fortress, because the fortress contains the sole living remains of all the humans left on Earth, and they built this society within this giant, massive roving fortress. And because they're each children of a certain age, they're now given like a certain position in society. But due to her losing an arm and her mechanical prosthesis, she was deemed unfit for combat, and so she's relegated to somehow a safer job as a cleaner of the fortress itself, where she's on like a scaffolding on like this swing and scraping off like shit and muck and piss on the side of the fortress, because literally she's thousands of feet in the air on a little bitty swing, and just like somehow that's keeping her safe from fighting these zeros.
And she's got to do that for 5 years before she can actually do the armor repair. She's just working on scraping and cleaning it, right? For 5 years.
Cleaning. Like, her job is armor repair, but rookies have to do that clean for 5 years. So, like, in 5 years, she'll be repairing armor, but it'll just be still hanging thousands of feet from the air on the side of the machine, or this huge fortress. Also, if anybody's read Mortal Engines or watched the stupid movie, boom, Mortal Engines reference for you.
Yeah, I was going to say, this was what I'd want Mortal Engines to be like. I've never seen it. I heard it's trash.
I never seen it, never read it, don't care to. Sorry for fans.
Whoops. But there's because we're still sort of learning about the setting, I do think it's kind of cool how there's all these stratified cities within the fortress, and there's just the rivers of the monster blood that sort of run through the sea that sort of power everything. And it's really sort of cool how the whole thing is just like one big moving. It's like an organism into itself. And the other mysteries of the series is like the gears, the soldiers, how they're in a way not human themselves, because the soldiers we do see, they all have inhuman coloration on their skin and like slightly inhuman features. So there's definitely more going on. Like somehow due exposure to the monsters, they become more monsters themselves. That's something to be explained, but I did think that was an interesting touch.
Yeah, they even Natsume even calls them, or she even says she wished she would have been born into a warrior race. So like, you know, that's interesting in itself too.
Because I want to say the people living in the city, they're called tankers, and they say only a very small portion of the civilians in the city can graduate to become soldiers. So the soldiers themselves may be entirely in a different, separate group of people from the people living inside. But over the course of the episode, the girl gradually becomes more accustomed to her job. She tries to warm up to her standoffish boss, but he's not really having it. And then in her effort to sort of engender a sort of relationship, she finds his lost water bottle, returns it to him. But he seems to be holding the secret himself. He seems to be much more aware of the monsters than he's letting on, because he seems to be holding one of the monsters as a pet in his, I guess, cubbyhole, his little box he lives in, which might be one of the cutest little monster mascots I've seen in a while. Definitely a contender for best dog.
Yeah, it's
of
a
anime
puppy.
in 2020.
Oh my god, it's so fucking cute. and when he's in there eating dinner with her, he's like, all right, be good. And then he locks the door. And, you know, of course, like any pet, like a dog, he gets anxious because he wants to see what's going on, you know? So he opens the door somehow, and the girl doesn't notice. And he's like, ah, man, it's such a good, like... I don't know. It's a good bit because like he sees the creature sees him, and he's like, "What are you doing?"
And then he immediately says, "You have to leave. It's time for you to go. Good night."
And she accidentally like drops a bottle or something, and it literally like scares him like a goat. Like a goat. When it gets scared, it just falls over. The same thing happens with this creature. It falls over. And she's like, "Ah, what's that?" And she attempts to stab this little guy. She just grabs a knife immediately and tries to kill him. He's not having it, so he grabs her scorpion tail ponytail and just like knocks her on the floor. And she gets used to him. She's like, yeah, you got to give him a name. So what is his name, boys?
I can't remember.
Pipes.
Ah, you don't remember
Pipe.
Colt, the best character.
I watched it a few days ago.
Pipe, best name ever. Pipe.
Cole, you're the dog connoisseur, and you're just blanking on this little monster dog, this little monster puppy with this little like steam pipe
We're
hole
gonna
head.
have to take points off you, boy. Sorry,
No.
too late. But yeah, whenever he's happy, he lets out little smokes. He has a little blowhole like a whale. It's really cool, really cute. Love him.
And sort of like as she's trying to get her feel for her boss and just sort of warm up to him, that's when we're sort of hit with the drama for the episode, when we're made privy to there's a wave of these monsters heading toward the city, and behind them is a large scale like kaiju size monster, sort of, I guess, as the leader of the pack. He's sort of ushering all the little ones forward, and so the city goes into lockdown. Like it puts its heels in it, and then starts to transform the city into like a battle station essentially. So it launches out its prow to anchor the city, and then as you see that the canopy of the city start to open up and reform, they release their gears, release their soldiers to fight the monsters, and then in the ensuing fracas, Natsume and her coworkers are thrown for the position, start plummeting to the ground. But luckily, her boss apparently used to be a gear, so he snags some equipment, and he starts zipping around, saving folks, and starts killing the monster, just like stabbing them ahead and sucking their blood. And then all the while, the city is reforming so it can take on the head honcho monster. and which is probably one of the coolest scenes in the show. Is that essentially you have this giant whale-like monster with spiral shells in the back, slowly lumbering toward the monster, toward the city. They launch their harpoons on the big monster to drain its blood, and you see the blood like cascade in like waterfalls to fill the latrines and the trenches of the city, and they start charging up this what looks like a cannon, and essentially it charged up and it fires this massive stream of turbine energy out the back of the machine that's on top of the city. It launches this huge fish-shaped battering ram into the monster's chest, and just like one hit flips this bitch, big as it is, into the air. And it's like, whoa, this is like, you really get this sense of scale and just the sheer enormity what's happening. It's like amazing.
Like this fist, like you think like, this won't do much. No, like it's like one of those delayed kind of anime attacks where it punches it and then it just explodes essentially. Like parts of its body just explode.
At One Punch Man him essentially.
Essentially, yeah. Which we can't even explain how awesome it was. The boss Kaburagi, zipping and zooming, killing fucking Gaddals. That's the name of the monsters. Just oh my god, it was so fucking sick. And Natsumi was just he takes her and clips her to his belt and is just going along for the ride. And like, you know, at times like, you know, this at times it can kind of seem silly, but like with a girl losing her arm and then even like, you know, her losing her dad, and there's even a scene in there where the reason why they all fall actually is because another one of the workers, Fennel, his machine doesn't work for him to pull him back up, so he attempts to jump on one of his friends. That doesn't work, so they attempt to jump on a piece of metal. That they bring that down, and in that moment, it almost kills Natsumi and Kaburagi, but then they jump, and that's how they fall off. But something also, this like, there's already a ton of mystery in this show. There was also another mystery where Kaburagi has like a second job essentially. He has like some kind of like chip implanted in his I guess brain or like eye, so where he's notified of quote bugs unquote in the city, and he has to go essentially extract them. Secret agent shit, man.
So there's definitely some shadowy fingers like strewn across the city, because not only you have this outward threat of these giant monsters and just sort of advancing in a very desolate world, you also have this threat from within, perhaps, that like, even though this is the end of the world, there's still people in power trying to fuck shit up and make life harder for everyone else. So I think this like I said earlier, this is probably my favorite of the ones I was able to see. It's the one I got me the most hype, got me the most intrigued. This has my number one recommendation. What do you like final say? What do y'all think of Deca-Dence? Is this a recommendation?
Well, I think it has a lot of potential just from this first episode. I definitely want to keep watching. It has it reminds me of so many Trigger animations. I don't know what it is. It's nothing to do with Trigger. I don't know what happened there, but man, it looks real good.
It looks it looks real good. I can't recommend it enough. I remember I think I follow an artist who might have worked on some designs, or maybe this artist was just doing fan art, but like it was hyped up so much, and yeah, I think it was worth the hype. I'm excited to see more.
Yeah, I'm pretty much on the same boat. Out of the ones I saw, this was probably my least favorite, but all of these were good. That's not like an indictment of this show.
So. But that leads me to my point. I said this was my favorite. I want to hear from y'all. What would be your ratings for this, like from favorite to least favorite? Of course, all these being good, but what would be your number one recommendation? You know, order them as you would recommend them. Johnson, you go ahead.
Like I said, probably last place would be Deca-Dence. Then God of High School and Japan Sinks at number one.
I'm going to only go off the first episode, so I'm not going to include the rest of Japan Sinks. The last place probably be God of High School. Third place be Japan Sinks. Second would be Deca-Dence, and number one would be Great Pretender. I'm all about that funky, fresh music, baby.
Hell yeah. For me, last place would be The God of High School. Third place would be The Great Pretender. Second place would be Japan Sinks, and first place would be Deca-Dence. I really enjoy Deca-Dence. like I can't explain it. And like with that one fight scene of the boss just jumping around and killing these motherfuckers, just bam, 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 man. Ooh.
I do think this is probably like across the board our most consistent in terms of recommendations. I think
this is our best season of anime that we've gotten to cover.
For sure.
Because like literally every single one we have a very strong recommendation for, and I feel like you can't go wrong with any of the four that we mentioned today. Of course, summer anime, the pickings are a little small, but there's still plenty good to hear to check out, and I think all these are well worth your time. So thank you all for listening today for our summer anime review. Tune in for our next. We'll have our fall anime when that happens. And we'll be excited to cover that as well. But once again, you can follow us on social media, on Twitter, Instagram at AYSJ's Podcast, and follow us on Letterboxd and Facebook at AllYouCanHear. Follow us on Twitch at twitch.tv/AllYouCanHear, and follow us on YouTube as well at AllYouCanHear. You can follow me, Patrick, at John Lost His Name on Twitter and Instagram, and my art on Facebook at John Lost His Name Art.
My name is Jonathan. You can follow me on Twitter at JONIIBOI24 and John Odinson12 on Letterboxd.
My name's Colt. Follow me on Twitter at ColtD00. Have a good one and watch these shows. Enjoy yourself. Treat yourself.
Thank you for listening. I'm Winslow. You can follow me on Twitter at WinslowBooking. You can follow my art Instagram at WorldOfWinsy. Yeah, watch these fucking shows. If you can just wait, getting all of them out, watch them. These are good. Stay inside. Black Lives Matter.
100%.
Enjoy anime and support all the people that are still trying to make their voices heard in this country. So you can do both. Enjoy yourself, stay indoors, and support those that need your help.
Exactly.
All right. Take care of yourselves. We'll talk to you soon. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.